What does a personal injury lawyer do? It is one of the most searched questions on YouTube, and it deserves a straight answer. I'm Doug Burnetti, founder of Burnetti, PA in the Tampa Bay area. I have handled personal injury cases across Florida for over 35 years, and I have never represented an insurance company. Every client I have ever had was a person hurt by someone else's negligence. In this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly what a personal injury lawyer does, from the first call to the final resolution of your case, how we investigate, how we handle insurance companies, how we build a claim, and how we get paid. Let's get into it. The first call and the free consultation. The work starts before you ever sign anything. Most personal injury attorneys, including our firm, offer a free consultation. That call or meeting has a specific purpose. I'm evaluating your case, and you are evaluating me. Both sides are making a decision. During that consultation, I'm listening for four things: whether the other party had a legal duty to act carefully, whether they breached that duty, whether their breach caused your injury, and whether your injury produced real, documentable harm. Those four elements, duty, breach, causation, and damages, are the legal foundation of every personal injury case. If all four are present, there is a case worth pursuing or at least investigating. If one is missing or weak, I'm going to tell you that honestly. I'm also listening for red flags, gaps in treatment, statements you may have made to insurance adjusters, recorded calls you may have given, anything you may have already signed. Those facts affect strategy. I would rather know about them on day one than discover them months into litigation. You should be asking questions too. How does the attorney communicate? Do they return calls? Will you work directly with an attorney or primarily with support staff? How many cases does the firm handle at one time? A high volume firm that settles quickly is not the same as a firm that invests deeply in your case. Know which one you are signing with. Believe me, insurance companies know which lawyers are willing to go to trial and which ones are not. At our firm, the insurance companies know we'll go to trial, and believe me, that matters for your case. Contingency fees. How personal injury lawyers get paid. One of the most important things to understand is that personal injury attorneys work on a contingent fee. That means you pay no upfront legal fees. If we do not recover money for you, you do not pay us anything. We don't get paid. Our fees come as a percentage of the final recovery. In Florida, contingency fees in personal injury cases are governed by Florida Bar's Rule 4-1.5. Common structures are around 33% before a lawsuit is filed, and a higher percentage if the case goes to litigation or trial, with specific schedules depending on the recovery amount. Your attorney should explain that clearly and put it in writing in your retainer agreement before you sign anything. The contingency fee structure exists specifically so that injured people can access experienced legal representation regardless of their financial situation. You do not need money to hire a personal injury attorney. What you need is a case that has merit. Costs, which are separate from fees, may be advanced by the firm and recovered from the settlement. Medical records, expert witnesses, crash, reconstruction, deposition transcripts. These kinds of costs or expenses can add up in a serious case. Make sure you understand how your attorney handles those costs before you sign. The investigation phase. Once you hire a personal injury attorney, the investigation begins immediately. This is one of the most time-sensitive parts of the whole process, and it is where the quality of your representation has the most direct impact on your case. In the first days after signing, a good attorney is doing several things at once: sending preservation letters to any party who may hold any evidence, the other driver's insurance company, businesses with surveillance cameras around, employers if a commercial vehicle was involved, governmental agencies if they're involved, especially if road conditions were a factor. Evidence disappears fast. Surveillance footage is overwritten sometimes in just days. Witnesses move and forget. Physical evidence at the scene changes. Preservation letters create a legal obligation to hold evidence. If a party destroys evidence after receiving one, that can be used against them at trial. We are also gathering what already exists: the police report, any available dash cam or surveillance footage, your medical records, your wage documentation, witness statements. The investigation phase is about building the factual picture before anything fades. In cases involving commercial vehicles, my firm typically retains a crash reconstructionist, a specialist who analyzes physical evidence to establish things like speed, angle of impact, and the sequences of the events. In medical malpractice or products liability cases, we retain expert witnesses in each relevant specialty very early because those experts shape the entire case theory. What we do with insurance companies. Insurance adjusters are professionals whose job is to close claims for as little money as possible. They are not your advocates, and they are not neutral parties. They work for the insurance company. Once you have legal representation, you should not be communicating directly with the other party's insurance company. All your communication goes through your attorney. This is not about being difficult. It is about making sure nothing you say is used to minimize your claim. Your attorney's job with the insurance company is threefold. First, to document and present your damages clearly and completely. Medical bills, future medical bills, lost wages, lost earning capacity, pain and suffering, and any other harm that the other party's negligence caused. Second, to negotiate from a position of documented strength, not desperation. Third, to recognize when an offer is reasonable and when it is a lowball that should be rejected. Insurance companies have sophisticated claim evaluation software that assigns dollar values to your injuries based on actuarial data. Your attorney should know how those systems work and how to present your case in a way that pushes the evaluation toward a fair number. Building the demand package. Before any serious negotiation, your attorney prepares what is called a demand package. This is a formal written submission to the insurance company that lays out the facts of the liability, the full extent of your damages, the legal basis for the claim, and a specific demand amount usually. Sometimes you don't put an amount in, you just send everything. A strong demand package includes your complete medical bills and records, documentation of your lost income, a medical summary to explain your injuries in terms that translate into clearly a dollar value, and any expert opinions or supporting reports that reinforce the seriousness of your claim. The demand package is essentially the opening argument for your case in written form. How it is constructed matters. An attorney who sends a thin demand gets a low response, usually. Sometimes there's some strategy to sending a small demand, but normally you give them all the information. When you send a thorough, well-documented demand, it forces the adjuster to take the claim more seriously. After the demand is submitted, the negotiation phase begins. Most personal injury cases in Florida resolve at some point during this process without going to trial. That is not a bad thing. A well-negotiated settlement that gets you fair compensation quickly is often a better outcome than years of litigation. Going to trial when necessary. Not every case settles. When the insurance company refuses to make a reasonable offer, the decision goes to you. Accept an inadequate amount or file suit and take the case to trial. Most personal injury attorneys resolve cases before trial, but the credibility of the trial threat is what makes settlement negotiations work. An insurance company knows which attorneys actually go to trial and which ones do not. They know that through their software that evaluates claims. That reputation affects settlement numbers. An attorney who has tried cases and won is a different negotiating partner than one who has never been in front of a jury. At Burnetti, PA, we have multiple lawyers who are board certified. In order to get board certified, you have to have had several real jury trials, and you have to pass an extremely difficult test. Less than 2% of the lawyers in Florida are board certified civil trial lawyers. My firm has several. If your case goes to trial, your attorney is responsible for every phase of that process: deposing witnesses, retaining and preparing expert witnesses, filing motions, trying the case before a jury, and arguing damages. Trial preparation for a serious case can take months, sometimes longer. It is an enormous amount of work. But when a case justifies it, it is the right path. When you should call a personal injury lawyer. The short answer: call before you talk to the insurance company. If you are in an accident, injured at a business, hurt by a defective product, or harmed by someone else's negligence, the other side's insurance company is already working on their version of the events. They have professionals who do this every day. You may not. The sooner you have a professional guidance on your side, better position you are in for every decision that follows. A free consultation costs you nothing. If there is no case, a good attorney will tell you that honestly. If there is a case, you will understand your options clearly from day one, which is exactly where you want to be. What questions do you have about how the process works? Drop them in the comments and I will address them directly. A lot of people have the same questions and are afraid to ask. Ask here. If you want to understand how to choose the right personal injury attorney for your specific situation, we cover that in another video on this channel. It is linked in the description. I'm Doug Burnetti with Burnetti PA. Thanks for watching. Drop your question in the comments and I will see you in the next one.